Hey guys, welcome to week 2, day 6 of my Hypertrophy 1.0 program. You guys can download the program for free in the description, no strings attached. Anyway, we're finally at day 6, so we're almost done with week 2 and on to week 3. We're finishing off week 2 with a pretty moderate intensity lower body training day. So we're doing leg press, and then we're going to do some barbell RDLs and some Bulgarian split squats, and then some accessory lifts, some more isolation focused lifts after that. And I really like the leg press because it reinforces a sense of stability without being super fatiguing. I read some comments that you guys didn't think that I was going hard enough last time, and honestly, I'm in the same boat today because I also worked for a very long time today, just like last week, but we're here and I'm going to be trying to like surpass my intensity by a lot versus last week. So we're definitely going to be trying a bit harder. Just because, if you're not trying when you go to the gym, then you probably won't get as much out of it as you want. So we're going to really make sure that we're pushing it. I'm sticking to the same weight that I did last time, but we're definitely going to increase the intensity. I think that's going to be kind of the theme of today's workout is same weight, but pushing the intensity, pushing the boundaries. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so I think the last time I only got like 8 to 10 repetitions. So this time I think it was upwards of 17. So I take it back. We are actually going to be increasing. I think I'll add 10 pounds each side for a total of 20 pounds. Just because 17 is a little bit too many reps for this hypertrophy based program. So we're going to aim for 15 or below. But of course, the weight needs to correspond to that. Otherwise, it's not going to be challenging enough. So set number 2, let's get it. I upped it by 20 pounds, like I said, and I took like a 3-minute rest, so we should be good to go. Oh, that'll do. I think that there's a lot of controversy with like locking your knees out on the leg press. And I definitely don't think that it's ideal if you're really strong at the leg press, but I'm just working my way back into it. I haven't done it for a while. My weight isn't that much. I think it's under 400 pounds. So I don't really have a problem with locking it out for myself. It doesn't feel like there's any issues, but if you guys are doing like 6, 7, 800 and more, then maybe be wary of that. Just as like a protocol. Just don't lock your legs if you can help it. Okay, I'm a bit happier with this weight and the repetitions that I got, but I still feel like at least next week we can go up even more. I'll probably end up going at least. I'll probably end up going to 4 plates on each side. I think I'm just gonna go for that because I think that in for this lift it's like program 6 to 12 or like 8 to 15 or something like that. It's like a big range, so I'd like to kind of go a little bit heavier and less repetitions if I can. I think that this was totally great for this day for week 2, day 6. But anyway, let's do the last set here. I got one more. We got one more. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Much better than last week. Next, we're doing the RDL, the barbell variation, Romanian deadlift barbell variation. And I've decided to keep the weight the same again and probably aim for around the same repetitions that I did last time, which was around, I think, first set 10, second set 8, and third set 7, I believe. I can check it. That's the beautiful thing about running a program like this is you're recording your sets and reps each and every day, each and every week, so you can reflect on it later. Anyway, I am sticking to the same weight, probably the same reps, but I'm going to try and progressively overload through manipulating my tempo. Last time, after reviewing the footage, I concluded that I was rushing through my sets a bit. In fact, somebody left in the comments that it seemed like I was rushing. And I agree after reviewing the footage. It seemed like my eccentric phase was way too quick, and the concentric phase was probably good, but the lowering part was way too fast. I wasn't controlling the negative like whatsoever. So let's try and improve. Because after all, we're trying to improve every session if we can. That's how we're gonna get the most out of our training. I may have been able to get like one more rep, but I think that felt really good considering that my tempo was much improved. So we're going to try and keep every rep like that. I've said it before, I'll say it again. We're going for every individual rep to be perfect. We're not going for, a set of 8 to 12 and just trying to hit a range. We're trying to perfect each and every rep. At least I try and remind myself that, but I hope it resonates with you guys as well. I'd like to briefly touch on frequency and days training per week because I haven't really talked about that too much. What the scientific research shows us is that around a frequency of 2 to 3 times per week per body part is going to be ideal. At least 2. You see huge gains from going from 1 time of frequency to 2. And what that basically looks like is like say you're only train chest on Monday, that would be a one-time frequency because you have to wait a full 7 days to train it again. Versus if you train chest on Monday and Thursday, that'd be 2 times a week frequency. So you're doing it twice per week. That's how I'm approaching this particular program. We're doing it 2 times a week frequency because we do push, pull, legs, repeat, and then a rest day to finish off the week. So like with this, we're hitting our hamstrings in the lengthened position like this twice a week. We're hitting the RDLs on this day 6, and then on day 3 we're doing the dumbbell variation of the RDLs just to kind of mix it up a bit. So that's how I approach that. And then also days per week training, I think that while it doesn't have as big of an effect, I think that the more days you're training, it's easier to get a higher frequency and easier to get in more volume. So I'm not a huge proponent of training like 7 days a week, but I think that like between 5 and 6, maybe 4, but then your actual training sessions are probably gonna be super long because you want to hit a certain volume and frequency threshold. And in order to do that in 4 days, you're gonna be having a shit ton of sets per session. So it's gonna be really challenging if you're very serious about increasing your muscle size. And therefore, I like to do around 6 because it's an even number. 5 is an odd number. So you're training maybe flipping a little bit each and every week. Therefore, I like 6. So 2 times a week, frequency, 6 days, total sessions a week. I think that's a great spot for any like intermediate advanced. Even beginners can do it too, but I don't know if they quite need as much volume because when you're new, your body will adapt to anything. Okay. I feel like that set was up to the same standard as set number 1, so I will take it. If anyone out there is doing the same, let me rephrase that. If anybody out there is using the same duration of rest periods from like upper body training to lower body training, say you're resting a minute in between doing like short lateral raises, and then you're only resting a minute in between doing something like a barbell RDL variation, then I suggest you try and rest a bit more on your lower body days, just because they are so much more systemically fatiguing. It takes so much more out of you. It involves so many more muscle groups that it almost begs to have a longer rest period and more adequate rest time versus an upper body lift. That's one. Let's finish strong, huh? Okay. I love that my sets were completely consistent across the 3 sets that I did. Next up, we're doing the prone hamstring curl. And I like programming this one on this day because on the other leg day, day 3, we are getting the seated hamstring curl. So it's just nice to kind of mix up the way that we're training this musculature. So we're doing the prone version, 3 sets to failure. Okay, I got 12 there. I'm happy with that. Isn't it crazy when you strain so hard that your neck kind of cramps up? That's what just happened to me. It's kind of awesome. Surely you guys have noticed that I don't have any hip thrust programs into this particular Hypertrophy 1.0 program. No direct glute work really whatsoever in that regard. There's no like glute kickbacks. There's no hip abduction, adduction. There's no hip thrusts. There's a very good reason for that. And that's because we are hitting our weekly volume of glutes in our other lifts. For example, when we're doing Romanian deadlifts, we're hitting the glutes to a large degree. They're one of the primary movers. Same with when we're doing squats, we're hitting them really hard. Same with Bulgarian split squats, with walking lunges. Those are all hitting the glutes. So I don't think that it's really necessary in a program like this to include direct glute work. Though next program I might. One of 5 pounds on the leg extension. My quads are pretty fried, but we're gonna finish it off. And what I like about this exercise is it's not super fatiguing to your central nervous system or your recovery. So you can always kind of throw it in there without a problem. There's no burn like the burn of doing a lot of leg extensions to or near failure. There's no burn like it, in my opinion. Well, I mean, I guess there's burns that are like it, but it feels like it's one of a kind. I mean, that shit. It's one of those ones where you just need to power through because the burn is so intense. Okay. Quads are officially finished. That feels good. Actually, the whole lower body's finished, except we just need to finish off with some calves. We're doing 8 sets of calves, 4 sets of the standing calf raise, and then 4 sets of like it's, I mean, it's technically still standing. It's the machine next to it where your legs are straight, but you're kind of bent over like this. So we're gonna do 4 sets of each of those. As of late, I feel like my calf training is nowhere near where I want it to be. I think that I'm rushing through my repetitions. So today we're gonna try, and actually we're not gonna try, we're just gonna do, we're gonna make it much more slow and controlled and deliberate. Pausing at the bottom for a split second, pausing at the top for a split second to get that maximum stretch, but also that maximum contraction at the top. Go bouncing. It's easy to be tempted into kind of rushing the last couple reps in a set of calves, but I'm really making sure that even the last reps are done deliberately and are the same as the first reps. If you guys are having trouble feeling your calves work and just getting the most out of your calf training that you can, I think that playing around with taking off your shoes and really just feeling the full range of motion of that the calves can do may help you break through that wall. I'm sure that some of you guys have noticed that there's no like drop sets and very little supersets and just intensity techniques as a whole programmed into hypertrophy 1.0. And that's for good reason. I think that for the vast majority of lifters, you'll never really need to do a drop set or any like intensity techniques like that because you just get the bulk of what you need out of straight sets. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. However, I think that it can be a really fun way to spice up your training and just kind of take things to the next level, so to speak. And therefore, I think that in my next program, I'm going to start adding some like drop sets and stuff to the last set of most exercises. And the reason why I'm choosing the last set instead of like every single set or the first set is because I don't want to be overdoing the fatigue that we are experiencing from training, because training is already super fatiguing on your body. I mean, it's already taking a ton of resources to recover from training. So if you're adding intensity techniques to every set, you're going to hit burnout way before you want to. I promise you that. So I think that using intensity techniques is really fun and can be a good time and just fun, but overdoing it is going to cost a pretty penny. If you guys don't have this machine, then do the seated calf raise machine. If you don't have that, then you can like put a plate on top of your knees and sit down and do it that way. Or you can just do a standing version with weight. Okay, guys, we are almost done with week 2, day 6, the last day of week 2. I just have one more set here. I'm not going to be resting for too long because this is calves and it doesn't require long rest periods. Anyways, I just to kind of like look back at things, I think that week 2 overall much stronger than week 1. First of all, we're probably getting way more gains because it is by nature more volume than week 1 is, but I also up the intensity in each and every set, in my opinion. So we not only increase volume, but we increase intensity. Sure, it's been a little bit more challenging to recover from, but nothing that's too difficult. Going into week 3, my intention is to keep working on form, keep upping the intensity as much as I can, and just really focus on recovering as much as I can. I'm not going to be drinking or doing anything that's going to cause harm to my recovery. So I'm going to be very deliberate and conscious of it, because going into week 4, we're going to want to be in tip-top shape, because week 4 is going to be by far the hardest week. So we don't want to mess ourselves up on week 3. Anyway, let's finish it off. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed week 2, day 6, this episode of my Hypertrophy 1.0 training program. Again, you guys can download it for free in the description, no strings attached. I would love for you guys to follow along. Have a good one.